Stay a while and listen.
Hello, welcome back to the Freak Show. Bumpy McSquigums here. I want to thank you all for joining me as I continue with my Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity, the White March. We are doing things, and it's oh so good. Or at least it seems to be so good. Alright, so I'm sure there's more constructs ahead.
Indeed.
So let's go and see if I'm not wrong. Pretty sure I'm right.
This may prove useful.
Alright, we shall remove the trap. Getting a little bit more of the experience that we need to get as we continue to search for the missing Galvino. I think that was his name. Galvino. I feel like there should be more traps nearby. What say you?
This may prove useful.
And indeed there are. Indeed there was yet another trap. Shocking, to be sure. Okay, well, something's bound to go on in this room. Yep, I already see the constructs constructing. I'm doing a quick save here. Alright, I would like to get my peeps into position.
Hey.
Let's get you to go peek inside of the room. Hello, anyone in here? I think this is fine. Alright, all of you also unstealth and go after him. There we go. Easy enough.
Yes?
No big deal. What's this say? This crumpled piece of parchment was found jammed inside the faceplate of a construct. My efforts to instill even a child's intelligence in these creations have all failed. Most cannot hold a quill, much less set thoughts to paper. I believed for some time that Subject 63 might have had a breakthrough during its lessons, but I discovered that it has simply been repeating my words without comprehension. These were not enlightened characters, while they wore their original skins. Perhaps their essence lacks a fundamental capacity for learning. I have put them to the test in more martial arts, but here too they falter without the benefit of true sentience. The devil, of course, delights in mocking them. It is like testing children at combat. Ah, if I only had my old machines. Yeah, that stuff with words and things that we totally read flawlessly. Well, we're laying low. There's a switch and there's a door. I'm curious as to what the switch does. Ah, it opens... Okay. Alright. I can get behind that. Let's go clear out the rest of the stuff over here. We know there's some more constructitudes over here. Constructing their way to safety. Well, it looks like there's a lot of them. And they are angry. Angry folk. Oh. Well... We got knocked into a wall. Pretty sure that's not great. Let's all go after this one. Are you gonna get up soon, buddy?
Yes?
You should probably not be there. Alright, let's do this. Because it just feels right. You knocked him down. Let's back you up. Put you over here. Let's knock this one down while everybody else goes after this one. I think we can probably do the Hadouken of Love there. And probably do this as well. Well, we're murdering them quite nicely, actually. Yeah, none of them blew up on us. Feel pretty good about that. Well, got bad news for you, friend. You ain't gonna make it. Look at you. Just bleeding everywhere. Little tendrils of awful coming out of you. What have you learned? Don't mess with a player named Gus. That's what you should have learned. Ooh, look at that. An exceptional rapier. A rapier, huh?
Of course.
They shall see nothing while I see much.
Probably not rapier. Just saying. Okay, a cell key was added to the stash. An exceptional dagger that looks like a hole in the ground. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty underwhelmed by how all that went down. That's okay.
I shall be discreet.
We have unlocked the door, and we're about to meet up with people that probably want to kill us. It's Galvino. I think I called him Galvano. It's whatever. An elderly man hunches over a cluttered desk in the back of the workshop. His flesh is pulled tightly around thin, fragile-looking bones, except around his neck where it hangs in loose wattles. Lovely. He turns as you enter, a scowl already chiseled into his lined face.
Back again? I told you.
He hesitates, squinting at you from behind smudged and dusty spectacles.
Of course, a fresh fool to replace the last fools. What brings you stomping through my workshop, eh?
He draws his words out, looking you up and down. A sneer creeps across his face. Well, I've got questions about Durgan's battery and the White Forge. Watch your tone, old man. Seems like you already know. I sell false teeth. Heard you could use a new set. What were those things? What were those things? Let's go with
My
that one.
work. And from the racket outside, I must assume you made a mess of them.
He scowls at me. Well,
Come on, Galvino, they weren't your best work.
huh. The voice echoes from within the golem. That's creepy.
And you are? I should melt you for parts, Amora.
Get on with it. I didn't come to listen to you two bicker.
But you come seeking the
Clearing my
White
throat.
Forge, like they all do.
Uh-huh.
Boys with smooth cheeks and wild dreams. Girls with bright ribbons tied next to their scabbards.
His voice rises and falls with the sing-song of mockery.
Old men and women, too, seeking a final blaze of glory before they're snuffed out for another turn at the wheel. Sound familiar?
His smile is rigid as he looks at you, and the corner of his eye twitches. You've said all this before, I take it. Let's see here. I'd rather strive for greatness than wither in the shadows. It's a lot of bitterness. Maybe I should ask you the same thing. Yeah.
Save your breath.
He hawks a wad of phlegm from the back of his throat and spits into the corner. Lovely.
I have this conversation with every pig-headed swashbuckler those Postanagos and stalwarts send here.
Uh-huh.
Go see Galvino, they say. Surely he'll help you.
Must have slipped their minds what a busy and important fellow you are.
In the silence that follows, the temperature in the room seems to drop. Galvino glares at her.
I should have let them stone you. Would have silenced your endless rattling forever.
The hanging folds of his skin beneath his neck tremble.
Then you'd have naught but those frostbitten inbreds for company.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess this is what it's like. This is what it'd be like if Aloth and Silmir were two separate people. Come now, I sound nothing like either of them. Focus, please. Uldrich said you could help me. Maester Galvino, I would really appreciate your help, please. Pathetic old fool, I knew you couldn't tell me anything useful. Yeah, we're gonna go with Focus, Uldrich.
The only one young enough to have any sense. And since his mother runs that town now, who am I to argue?
He laughs bitterly.
The villagers and their adventurers hammer and pry at the battery as if they were laying siege to some moldering lord's keep.
He swats the air in front of his face.
But those stones were laid by some of the finest builders ever to have lived. Disciples of Abidan in the truest sense.
Uh-huh.
They will not fall by the whims of any kith. And the door itself, it is infused with living essence.
He holds his hands before him, and his eyes are wide with wonder. The dwarves themselves must have had a way of getting in. Yeah, that one.
Perfetto! This is the crux of the matter.
He claps his hands together.
The Pargrunen of Durgan's battery perished within their own keep, victims of a violent disagreement among their own commandants.
His mouth twists into a wicked grin.
Surely in the village you have heard stories, no? Disappearing caravans, tracks in the snow, screams from the high towers.
He pauses, watching your expression with a... what? A raconteur's glee?
The work of spirits still trapped in the battery, and a testament to those impenetrable walls.
He raps on the mortared stone of his own home.
But the door of the keep, the one the Pargrunen filled with essence, oh, it was made to listen, to recognize its masters.
Go on.
Traditional Optapo cultures revolved around language. Words revealed who they were and where they were from. That is why you need a Kantek.
He holds up a twitching finger. What the heck is a Kantek?
Some liken it to a poem, others to an anthem. In reality, it is more than either.
He holds one hand out, turning it this way and that in a balancing motion.
A Kantek is a statement of purpose, a declaration of identity. Each is unique to its stronghold.
So it's a spoken password. Okay, just say that, man. Ha! Seal your door with a key of words, and any liar can talk his way through. There's nothing built of words that won't break when the slightest stress is applied.
Thus, to enter a fortress like Durgan's battery, you would stand at the gate and recite its Kantek.
He spreads his arms, his face aglow. I can yawn and say it was fascinating. Very well. Where would I learn this Kantek? What an incredible tradition! Thank you for sharing. That's very interesting. I don't need the history. I just want to know how to get into Durgan's battery. Very well. Where can I learn it?
To learn the Kantek, you must speak with one of the dwarves of Durgan's battery. A shame they are all dead, no?
Yeah, that's such a problem for me. He rubs his hands together, pacing.
But no doubt their souls live on in one or two of the villagers of Stalwart. Like fine wine poured into a cheap pot.
Derision curls his lips.
But to identify them, that is the first problem. You would need the skills of an animancer.
He wags a finger at the ceiling. Well, you're an animancer. The golem's head turns in one slow, oil-smooth motion.
Yeah, Galvino, why don't you go back to Stalwart? Oh, there's a sight I'd rust my joints to see.
Enough!
He snatches an inkpot from the desk and hurls it at the golem. It flies wide, spattering the wall with ink. Motionless, the golem watches him with her black glass eyes.
I shall speak no more of that damned village.
Galvino's mouth and brows have calcified into a stern expression. I'm a watcher. The golem swivels her head sharply toward you. Her mask of a face and the glass eyes behind it betray no emotion, but it seems as if she's watching you carefully.
A watcher? Diverus? If this is true, then you could find a sole descendant from Durgan's battery, no question. But the greater difficulty remains.
Galvino rubs his gaunt, whiskered cheeks.
You would have to learn the Kantek from the dormant soul. And to do that, you would have to awaken it.
I would have to awaken someone. And how would I do that? So the Kantek is all I need? But this awakening would be permanent, wouldn't it?
Oh, yes.
That's a problem.
Whoever you awaken will live with the memories and the personality of a past life. Maybe peacefully, maybe not.
His bony shoulders rise in a shrug.
That is why you must pay attention to the soul you would awaken, no?
This guy's got a real knack for the understatement.
It is a monumental thing to impose on another, but these are the very people who wish to rediscover the White Forge, Verus.
He removes his spectacles and polishes the dirty lenses with his tunic. So the Kantek is all I need.
Who can say? None have yet opened Durgan's battery.
Galvino raises his hands, palm up.
But the ones that came before you, I think they got close. You may wish to find them and see what they discovered.
Well, I found what was left of them, a journal and a title, or a tile.
Then perhaps the Kantek is what you now require.
So I have to awaken someone. How would I even do that?
An awakening is merely the jolting of a dormant soul into consciousness.
Oh, sorry. He makes a bursting motion with his hands, splaying his fingers wide. I thought he was going to...
When such things happen normally, it is because something has reminded the subject of a past life, often violently so.
He smacks his workbench with surprising vigor. Loth flinches.
Thus, to awaken one of the former dwarves of Durgan's battery, you will need to address that soul, and preferably by name.
He folds his hands together, steepling his fingers.
But show some care. When you examine these souls, whatever it is you watchers do, you may see images, memories.
He leans forward, his back hunched.
These are moments of special import. What you see will tell you much about the person, and perhaps the condition in which they awaken.
He raises his hoary, I don't know, eyebrows and tilts his head back.
Awaken them from a traumatic memory, and who knows? Maybe they awaken thirsty for blood. Or maybe you awaken someone else.
Huh. He cackles again. Oh boy. Player named Gus, you mustn't do this. To condemn another to a fate like Merwald's. He shakes his head.
Here. This has been tuned to the Aeon of Durgan's battery. Use it near the villagers, and it should tell you if one has a soul old enough to have come from the battery.
He rummages around and produces an unfamiliar device. You have gained Galvino's resonance amplifier. Okay. I see. Well, thanks for your help.
You have much work ahead of you. As do I.
He nods and he turns back to his desk. Well?
I'm going with him.
Whoa. The golem looks between you, her neck turning on its oiled joint.
You? Go to Stalwart? Is this your macabre sense of humor, or has something gone to rust in that beautiful head I crafted?
Galvino stares at her agape.
No one will bother me while I'm with
Thank
him.
you.
Besides, I can help him find people in Stalwart.
The golem's burnished face is eerily impassive.
You haven't been to Stalwart in 13 years. And this watcher sees souls. What help could you be?
Well...
Besides, I have need of you here. You owe whatever remains of your wicked life to me.
A frown sours on his lips as he taps his chest with a crooked finger. The golem says nothing, but her essence smolders. Resentment rises from her in shimmering waves. She swivels her head to look at you. What's the story between you two?
This charming specimen is a convicted murderer. The Devil of Carrick, she's called.
Galvino laughs, coughing and wheezing.
Mighty fine of you to start with my good qualities, and you wonder why we don't get more visitors.
Killed over a dozen people before they finally caught up to her in Stalwart. Perfect company for lonely camps and mountain passes, no?
He nudges you all the while, grinning wickedly at the motionless golem.
Hey, I know how to start a campfire.
Okay.
The only reason she's not a frozen corpse is because I convinced the old mayor to let me try an experiment.
A shadow passes over his face. You put a person's soul into a metal body. Why did you build her? Why is she called the Devil of Karak? Aren't you afraid she'll murder you? Why is she called the Devil of Karak?
She committed her first crime in the village of Karak. Burned their family alive in their home.
He shrugs.
Did the same thing in half a dozen other villages, but the name stuck.
Okay, creepy. Well, why'd you build her?
Why build a fortress, or a village, or anything? To make something that keeps, that...
A disgusted sigh rattles in his throat.
It was the early days of the legacy. My peers in the colleges of Animancy were filling the Hollowborn with the souls of animals.
He pauses, scratching his chin. You're right. By comparison, this sounds perfectly sane. He rolls his eyes.
I thought there was a better way.
He is silent for several seconds, his gaze growing distant.
One with a Plum Academy job back in Salona. Don't forget that part.
One with a Plum Academy job. Okay. He glares at her with narrowed eyes. So it's one of those fights about who cleans the spears that's not really about spears? You put a person's soul into a metal body. Aren't you afraid she'll murder you?
She may be mad, but she's no fool. She wouldn't survive long on her own.
Galvino shrugs.
If the villagers didn't send a hunting party after her, the elements would claim her. Her joints and mechanisms require maintenance, and she cannot perform all of it herself.
See, he's reminding me. In case I get any bright ideas.
Uh-huh. You put a person's soul into a metal body. He leans back, raising his hands.
Into a work of art!
To a work of
Look
art.
at this! Craftsmanship worthy of a jeweler.
He traces the scroll work that runs along the golem's jaw.
Fully articulated joints, capable of grasping a pen and writing her own name.
He grabs her hand and delicately bends her tapered fingers.
And of crushing your throat.
And of crushing your throat. She snatches her hand away.
Show me another smith anywhere in the Deerwood who is capable of such delicacy and precision. She is a masterpiece.
Galvino steps back and takes a longer look at her. I take it your experiment didn't go over so well with the rest of the village?
Here we go.
She rolls her eyes, rasping them against her sockets. Okay.
They were going to stone her anyway. Why not allow her to be put to some useful purpose?
His lips curl back from yellowing teeth.
My life's ambition. To serve somebody's useful purpose.
I approached Mayor Sinahiod and begged. He
Sinohiud?
saw the potential.
What name is that?
And allowed me the privilege of attempting my little experiment.
He sneers at the words and the indignity they recall. His shoulders are stooped and his teeth bared.
Then, I accomplished what few animancers have even dreamed of. No academic support, no patron. Just me in the middle of nowhere.
He jabs a finger into his concave chest.
Oh, now you got 'em all wound up.
I transferred a fully intact soul from a living subject to a fabricated body. She retained her personalities, her memories, all of it.
He claws at the air with one thick-veined hand.
Yet the villagers saw only a stolen corpse.
Throws up his hands. That's all I wanted to
She's
know.
a fine specimen. Her personality notwithstanding.
He waves one hand in a circular motion. Well, I have no need for the golem's company right now. Farewell. Why not? You can travel with me. I'm not going to actually accept you.
No. You don't know what you ask.
He shakes his head, waving his hands.
This woman, the Devil of Karek, she was a notorious murderer. Burned people alive all over the region.
Sounds like she would get along with the Durance very well.
Besides, she works for me. After all, I am the one who preserved her.
He straightens his back and looks you up and down, taking your measure. You know what? That's fine. Never mind. The golem says nothing, but her essence smolders, resentment, blah, 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 blah. I don't need the golem right now. Sorry.
A moment. You are going back to Stalwart, yes?
Yep.
Perhaps you could do me a favor.
Galvino gives you a thoughtful frown. What about this flavor?
There is a man in the village named Grinde, the head fisherman.
He weaves his fingers together.
The rest of Stalwart kisses his feet because he fills their stinking blades with speckleback. But I know he's not as virtuous as he seems.
His face crinkles in vicious glee. What exactly do you want me to do to him?
Humiliate him, of course. Show his neighbors what he truly is, and let him live with the disgrace.
He points vaguely in the direction of the village, his thin arm trembling.
He's always been a ripple sponge addict. Just got good at hiding it once his sainted sister died and left him in charge of the fishery. But he keeps a stash in the fishery, sneaks in at night when the others have gone home, and emerges sluggish and red-eyed a few hours later. I want you to expose him. Go to the fishery after dark when it's empty, find his ripple sponge, and show it to Renengild.
Seems like you have a history with him.
That self-righteous meddler engineered my eviction from the village. He turned them all against me. Now I want him to feel the scorn of those mush-brained imbeciles.
I see.
Do not answer me now. But when you return to that festering eyesore and smell the stink of fish that hangs in the air, consider what I've said.
He holds up his hand and then he grins.
Your misgivings collect like grime on a doorstep. But think, if this Grinde is a fraud, does he not deserve to be exposed?
Sure, why not? Whatever.
But be sure to approach the fishery by night,
Yeah,
when
you
it's
said
empty. They will give you no end of trouble if they see you stealing during the day.
Well, tell me again about how to awaken. No, I know that. I wanted to know more about the expeditioners who came to you before.
As would I, but there is little to tell. They never gave their names.
He tugs at his whiskers.
But they seem to know more about the battery than the others. which is unusual because they did not seem like typical adventurers.
He raises his snowy eyebrows.
Their hands were smooth and marked with ink, not scars, and they traveled light. Unusually so.
He rubs at his chin. Unusual indeed. What do you suppose they were looking for?
Val himself could not have said.
What else?
And I haven't the time to concern myself with the business of strangers. Something else? Quite.
Uh-huh. What were those constructs I encountered in your workshop?
Other projects, they are none of your concern.
He waves his hand and looks quickly away from you. Well, the villagers don't trust you. Do those constructs have something to do with it?
It feels dark.
He mutters furiously under his breath, raising his hands to the ceiling.
For years I've been trying to create another like the Devil of Carrick. Yet those post-Enagos in Stalwart destroyed my machinery.
His drooping skin trembles in rage.
Now, I can only create these broken, mindless things. The devil remains my most perfect creation.
His lips twist with the taste of something bitter. Wait, where have you found the souls to create those golems?
Smugglers, slavers, fugitives, the kind of riffraff that pass this way. Rarely missed, and good work to keep my little devil busy.
He shrugs. Uh-huh. Why do you need more golems?
I can't present the Devil of Carrick to the academies, can I? A mad woman and a murderer? No. I need to bring a success to the republics.
He rubs his hands together, frowning. Yeah, I've heard enough. Alright, farewell.
Yes?
Mind if I steal stuff from you? No? Good, because I'm going to do it anyway. Hey, get out of here. What do you think you're doing?
Of course.
Whatever I want to do. What are you going to do to stop me? Sick the devil of blah 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 on me? Ooh, shiny bits. It's fine. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much going to do it for this episode. Galvino took up the vast majority of our time, but we accomplished a bit of stuff. It wasn't all terrible bad. I mean, most of it was pretty bad, but some of it was okay. So we're going to head back over here to this ladder, and we're going to leave this place. I guess we're going to return to town. We're going to find a soul. We're going to awaken that soul. He's going to become woke, or she, he or she, and it's going to be bad. Anyway, I'm going to chill right here, and that's going to do it until the very next episode. Till then, I am Bumpy McSquigums. Thank you so much for stopping by the Freak Show, and I will see you later.